In the eyes of Sophia Liu, the princess of the Liu dynasty, I was hopelessly in love with her. Senior year, she dove headfirst into her rebellious phase, getting way too close to Gavin Miller, the bleached blonde wannabe tough guy from school. To get on her level, I bleached my own hair to match. I also bought a slick Ducati and let her cling to my back as we tore through the city streets at night. Liam, are you freaking copying me on purpose? Gavin cornered me, furious that my new look not only stole his thunder, it also completely captured Sophia's attention. He was yelling loud enough to shake the cheap tile off the bathroom walls. After all, we might both have had bleached hair, but I was riding a $100,000 Ducati. He was on a beat-up Honda Ruckus that probably cost a few grand tops. We weren't even in the same league. Gavin's whole bad boy persona was completely overshadowed by my part-time imitation. He couldn't even look me in the eye. I know you're into Sophia, but she's into me, Gavin pressed, trying to reclaim some ground. His voice was dripping with a pathetic sort of pride. Don't think you can win her over just by ripping off my style. She'd never go for a guy like you. We were in the school bathroom. I was at a urinal and Gavin was buzzing in my ear like a persistent fly. I was getting tired of it. I zipped up and turned, a smirk playing on my lips. It's a free country, every man for himself. Oh, and by the way, I added, pausing for effect. You say she's into you, but that's funny. I've never heard her mention your name once. I let that sink in before delivering the final blow. If she was really your girl, why haven't you made it Instagram official? Gavin was speechless, his face turning a blotchy red. For all his posturing, he didn't dare lay a finger on me. He knew I lived with the louse. I rode to and from school with Sophia every day in a black Cadillac Escalade. To the outside world, I was practically part of the family. The Liu family basically owned this town. They were the wealthiest name in Los Angeles. Gavin was just some punk coasting through high school. He wouldn't dare touch anyone connected to them. Besides, I'm 6 feet 2 inches and built solid. He's maybe 5 feet 7 inches, scrawny, and would barely be a speed bump for me. Guys like him are all the same. They prey on the weak and shrink from a real fight. Gavin would only ever try to pull some shady trick. He'd never face me head on. If you hadn't copied me, Sophia and I would be together by now, he insisted, his neck muscle straining. He wasn't entirely wrong about that. A while back, when Sophia's rebellious streak first kicked in, she had been drawn to Gavin's act. She was even close to saying yes when he asked her out. That's when I made my move. I bleached my hair, bought the bike, and roared into the picture, pulling her focus back to me. Only then did she turn him down flat. To put it bluntly, if I hadn't shown up, Gavin probably would have sweet-talked her into a cheap motel room by now. I was the one who broke that spell. Sophia will be mine eventually. You just wait. I'll win her back. Gavin spat out, clenching his fist before storming out of the bathroom. You right? I muttered to the empty room, a cold smile on my face. I couldn't wait to see what lame tricks he'd try to pull next. My guess, given his limited imagination, it would be more pathetic attempts at looking cool. After all, Sophia was young and impressionable, easily fascinated by the faux danger of a guy like him. Back in class, I found my desk occupied by a clique of girls who looked like they spent more time on their makeup than their homework. Sophia and I had always been desk partners. When I was 12, my dad got seriously ill and my mom just left. She walked out on us both. Just when I thought we'd hit rock bottom, Mr. Liu appeared like a savior. He didn't just pay for my dad's medical bills. After my dad passed away, Mr. Liu took me in, raising me as his own ward. Sophia was his only daughter, a princess cherished and spoiled by everyone in their orbit. She lived a carefree life, doing whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. I couldn't. I knew my place. I was the kid Mr. Liu had taken out of the goodness of his heart. So, I followed his rules, stayed quiet, and did everything he asked. He never treated me poorly. He invested in me, teaching me everything from business to self-defense, and taking me to functions that opened my eyes to the world. I always sensed he was grooming me to be a successor of sorts. Someone who could support and protect Sophia when the time came. Mr. Liu traveled for business constantly, sometimes gone for months. Sophia's mother had passed away during childbirth. For years, besides the staff, it was usually just me and Sophia in that massive mansion. From the day I moved in, I became her playmate, her confidant, the big brother who made her feel safe. During thunderstorms, she'd sneak into my room with her pillow. When she didn't want to do her homework, she'd toss her notebooks at me. When she went out with her friends, she'd drag me along to carry her bags and pay for everything. Our relationship was a strange mix. One part brother and sister, one part butler and young mistress. and the rest felt like two kids who had simply grown up together, closer than anyone else. To me, she was both an untouchable star in the sky and the bratty little sister I knew down to her bones. And now that little sister was bored with her structured life and had developed a fascination with the rebellious antics of high school losers. That's why Gavin thought he had a shot, a chance to get close to the heir and maybe, just maybe, marry into the Lou fortune. He had no idea what he was up against. Instead of going to my seat, I leaned against the window, listening to Sophia and her friends chat. Some were from our class. Others weren't, but none of them were exactly honor roll students. I overheard them talking about how cool tattoos were. An idea formed in my head. That evening after school, I took Sophia to a high-end tattoo parlor downtown. If she wanted to rebel, I'd rebel with her. I had her name, Sophia, tattooed right over my heart in an elegant script surrounded by an intricate design. It screamed devotion. You got my name? Then I have to get yours. Just as I planned, she was convinced I was madly in love with her. She decided on the spot to get my name. Liam tattooed in the same spot above her heart with a matching design. Just like that, our tattoos were a matching set. As we left the shop, her eyes were sparkling. She looked up at me, a hint of benevolent charity in her voice. Liam, I know you love me. You've been by my side for so many years. And now you've even bleached your hair and gotten a tattoo for me. Fine, I'll give you a chance. Let's be a couple. She took a step closer, stood on her toes, and wrapped her arms around my neck, her breath warm against my skin. And since we're boyfriend and girlfriend, now you can kiss me. A girl in her rebellious phase is naturally curious about things like that. But me, I didn't really want to kiss her. Sophia was beautiful, no doubt about it. But her spoiled princess attitude, combined with her tendency to fall for the wrong guys, just wasn't my type. Still, I wrapped an arm around her waist, leaned down, and gave her a deep, lingering kiss. It was the first for both of us. Even when she was hanging around Gavin, she never let him so much as touch her. I'd been by her side constantly. I knew better than anyone that her first kiss was still hers to give. That night, Sophia posted a picture of our hands intertwined on her Instagram story. The caption was just 2 heart emojis. Even though it was just a close-up of our hands, it was a clear announcement. Her friends immediately blew up her DMs. Soph, what is this? Are you dating someone? Spill. Who is he? Who else could it be? I bet $5 it's Liam. Back in my room, I scrolled through the replies to her story and couldn't help but smile. Her friends were smarter than they looked. The next day at school, their whole attitude toward me had changed. Morning, Liam. Hey, congrats on you and Sophia. It's about time. You have to treat us to dinner to celebrate. Yeah, a celebration for you two finally getting together. They were practically calling me their brother-in-law. Mr. Lou gave me a generous allowance, so I didn't mind. I waved a hand dismissively. All right, tonight's on me. Bring your boyfriends. Their boyfriends were predictably the same type of guys who just messed around. That night, I took them all out to a trendy steakhouse downtown. Nearly every poser and troublemaker from our school was there, with one notable exception. Gavin Miller and his 2 cronies were nowhere to be seen. Halfway through dinner, I went to the restroom. As I walked back, I overheard one of the girls asking Sophia, Sophia, you and Liam getting together feels so sudden. Sophia's voice was lazy, nonchalant. Liam's been with me for years. He's crazy about me, so I figured I'd make him happy. It's not like I had anything better to do. Huh. So, that's how it was. She was still convinced I was the one doing all the chasing. After dinner, I let Sophia take the driver's seat of my Ducati. We led a procession of her friends on a loud, obnoxious ride through the city, making a scene, as they called it. In this world, money buys status. In just a couple of weeks, Sophia and I had become the undisputed king and queen of the school's delinquent clique. Not that we ever actually bullied anyone. Neither of us were genuinely bad kids. Gavin, having been dethroned as the school's top poser, finally decided he couldn't take it anymore. Sophia, look, I'm sorry for losing Sophia. During a break, Gavin cornered Sophia in the hallway. He pulled up his sleeve to show off a fresh tattoo of her initials on his forearm. It was his pathetic attempt at a grand romantic gesture. Sophia glanced at it, her nose wrinkling in disdain. Mine's better, she said flatly. She casually pulled the collar of her shirt to the side, revealing the tattoo just above her heart. In the middle of the intricate floral design, my name Liam was clearly visible. Those 4 letters were like daggers in Gavin's eyes. Tattooing someone's name on your body. The meaning was obvious. Gavin's eye twitched. He couldn't believe we'd moved that fast, that we were already at the getting each other's names tattooed stage. Sophia, completely ignoring his crestfallen expression, fixed her collar. Liam has my name tattooed on his chest too, she added proudly. Isn't that cool? Another dagger. It wasn't just one-sided. We had done it for each other. All he had managed was a set of initials. It was painfully obvious whose gesture meant more. Gavin's face was bright red. He looked like a clown who had just told a joke no one understood. But he didn't give up. Sophia was the sole heir to the Liu fortune. Billions of dollars were at stake. Getting close to her, becoming her boyfriend, and eventually marrying into the family was the only path he could see to a life of wealth and power for him. Winning Sophia over was his one and only lottery ticket. A few days after the tattoo fiasco, Gavin came up with a new plan. After lunch, a group of kids were hanging out in the main hallway, Sophia among them. Gavin had one of his friends start blasting music from a portable speaker. He then launched into a breakdance routine in the middle of the floor. He must have been practicing because he wasn't half bad. The energetic music and flashy moves quickly drew a crowd. Some students even pulled out their phones to record. It was pure peacocking, a blatant attempt to get Sophia's attention. It worked. Her eyes were glued on him, shining with genuine interest. When he finished with a dramatic pose, she was the first to applaud. Her cheers were the loudest in the hall. For a moment, Gavin looked triumphant. He shot me a smug, challenging glare from across the crowd as if he had already won her back. But then the thing that would truly break him happened. My turn. Inspired by Gavin's performance, Sophia decided to show off her own moves. She shot me a quick look. I knew exactly what she wanted. I pulled out my phone, found the right track, and hit play. As the upbeat music filled the hall, Sophia started to dance. Her school uniform had been tailored to fit her perfectly. Her lithe body moved with the rhythm, full of youthful energy. She was already beautiful, but dancing made her captivating. It wasn't just the guys who were staring. Even the girls couldn't look away. Watching her dance didn't bother Gavin at first. He probably thought it was great. They both liked to dance, a shared interest. It was his way in. What he didn't expect was for me to jump in and join her. Our movements were perfectly synchronized, a routine we'd clearly practiced countless times together. To everyone watching, we looked like the perfect couple, a match made in heaven. When the music ended, we turned to each other amidst the applause and shared a high five. Gavin watched the whole thing unfold, his face crumbling. He had spent days practicing, hoping his dance skills would be his trump card, only to end up as the opening act for our little show. He clenched his fist so hard his nails dug into his palms. His eyes shot daggers at me. If looks could kill, I'd have been dead 10 times over. Things were quiet for a few days after that. But Gavin wasn't done yet. One afternoon, a group of us, me, Sophia, and her girlfriends were cutting through an alley. A group of older, rough-looking guys blocked our path. There were 7 or 8 of them led by a heavy-set man with a greasy bowl cut. His cheap clothes couldn't hide his brutish demeanor. Well, look what we have here. This one's a real looker, Bowlcut said, his eyes locking on Sophia. He took a step forward, a sleazy grin spreading across his face. Hey, little lady, come home with me, and I'll promise to take real good care of you. He rubbed his hands together, his expression disgusting. Sophia's friends were frozen, pale with fear. Sophia, to her credit, kept her composure. She reached for her phone, about to call for help. But before she could unlock it, Bowlcut lunged forward and slapped it out of her hand. Think you're calling someone? Not a chance, he sneered, his gaze sweeping over the terrified girls. Today, you're all staying to keep us company. You treat us right and we'll make it worth your while. He laughed and his buddies joined in, their crude laughter echoing off the brick walls. Sophia, what do we do? One of the girls whispered, huddling closer to her. Their tough girl acts had vanished, replaced by sheer panic. This was real trouble, not high school drama. We were trapped. Meanwhile, just at the mouth of the alley, Gavin and his 2 friends were hiding, listening intently. Their presence was no coincidence. Gavin, man, you're a genius. One of his lackeys whispered, giving him a thumbs up. We get Tiger and his crew to corner them. Then we rush in and play hero. Sophia will be so grateful. She'll dump that loser Liam and fall right into your arms. It's perfect. That's right. The whole thing was a setup orchestrated by Gavin. A classic, if pathetic, hero saves the damsel scheme. I had to admit, the kid had a certain low-level cunning. If his plan had worked, he probably would have won some points with Sophia. But he made one critical miscalculation. He underestimated human greed. What do you think you're doing? A moment later, Gavin and his friends charged into the alley, puffing out their chests like they were saviors. But instead of a staged fight, what he got was the very real, very solid back of Bowl Cut's hand across his face. Smack! The blow sent Gavin staggering back. Get lost! Bowl Cut, apparently known as Tiger, growled. Don't interrupt my business. Gavin was stunned, clutching his cheek. He started making frantic faces at Tiger, trying to remind him of the script. His answer was a second, even louder smack. I said, beat it. Tiger roared, pointing out of the alley. Before I change my mind and break your legs. This was not going according to plan, Tiger. Gavin stammered, lowering his voice. We had a deal. You were just supposed to scare them and then we come in and save them. A third slap cut him off. Tiger shook out his hand. Plans change, he said with a grin. These girls are too cute to waste. I think I'll take them with me for a little fun. Now you three can either get lost or we can leave you broken in this alley. Your choice. Tiger wasn't bothering to whisper. Everyone heard. The truth clicked into place. Gavin hired these guys. Tiger, you can't do this. I paid you. Gavin yelled, forgetting to be discreet in his panic. One of Tiger's goons stepped forward and kicked Gavin hard in the stomach, sending him to the ground. The boss said, get lost now. Scram before you really piss us off. Gavin hadn't counted on Tiger and his crew having zero professional ethics. They'd taken his money and were now planning to take the girls, too. He knew he was out of his depth. Tiger's crew was notoriously violent. He couldn't fight them. Defeated, Gavin and his friends turned to leave. Gavin, what are we going to do? One of his friends whimpered. If Tiger really takes them, they were all just students. This had gone way too far. If these girls, especially Sophia Liu, were seriously harmed, the consequences would be unimaginable. I don't know, Gavin stammered, his face ashen. He was trapped between the fear of what Tiger would do to the girls and what Mr. Liu would do to him. Just as Tiger and his crew started moving toward the girls, I finally stepped forward from behind the group. No words, no warning. I just planted my foot squarely in Tiger's fat stomach. The force of the kick sent him flying backward into the brick wall. Whoa, boss! His men yelled in shock. Tiger lay on the ground, gasping for air. This kid, he's trouble, he wheezed. Get him. The remaining thugs came at me all at once. What they didn't know was that Mr. Liu's investment in me went far beyond academics. I'd been trained in hand-to-hand combat, firearms, even evasive driving. Honestly, I was probably qualified for the Secret Service. The only reason Mr. Liu was comfortable letting Sophia have her rebellious phase was because he knew I was always there watching her back. I pushed the girls behind me and met the charge. My movements were fast, precise, and brutal. A punch to the jaw, an elbow to the ribs. One after another, they went down. For the first time, I didn't hold back. And for the first time, Sophia saw what I was truly capable of. In less than a minute, it was over. I stood among a groaning pile of wannabe gangsters without a scratch on me. The girls stared, their mouths hanging open. Dude, Liam is a freaking beast. That was like something out of a movie. He's incredible. Sophia was just as stunned, but her shock quickly melted into a look of immense pride. She lifted her chin and boasted to her friends, of course he is. He's my boyfriend. You all should take notes for when you pick your own. She looked like she had just discovered a priceless treasure. The incident inevitably reached Mr. Liu. Afterward, I heard that Tiger and his crew were dealt with by another, far more professional group of individuals. I didn't know the details, and I didn't care. Gavin Miller didn't get away either. A short time later, he was cornered in an alley, and both of his legs were broken. He never came back to school. His two friends and their families moved out of Los Angeles overnight and were never heard from again. If you're going to mess with a billionaire's daughter, you'd better be prepared for a billionaire's wrath. And then it was my turn to face the music. Liam, I have never been more disappointed in you. In the study, I knelt on the floor, shirtless, my back already stinging. Mr. Liu stood over me, his face a mask of cold fury. This was all part of the plan. The reason was simple. In his absence, I had not only bleached my hair, but had also been running around with his daughter and a pack of delinquents. Now that he was back, all the blame was being laid squarely on my shoulders. Look at you two. Your hair, the people you associate with. I leave for a few months and you think you could turn this house upside down. Mr. Liu's voice was dangerously low. He punctuated his sentence by raising his hand as if to strike, a dramatic gesture we had rehearsed. I gritted my teeth, saying nothing, but made sure to defend Sophia. It was my idea to hang out with them, sir. It has nothing to do with Sophia. Punish me. Sophia was just outside the door listening. Hearing my words, followed by the sound of a heavy book slamming onto the desk to simulate a blow, was too much for her. She burst into the room, tears streaming down her face, and knelt beside me. Dad, it was my fault. All of it. I was the one who wanted to hang out with them, not Liam. Punish me, not him. Slam. Another book hit the desk. Mr. Liu wasn't listening. Sophia threw herself over my back, shielding me with her own body, her sobs racking her small frame. Dad, I said it was me. Please don't hurt Liam anymore. She was a mess. Her makeup running, looking utterly heartbroken. She had no idea that Mr. Liu and I were secretly exchanging glances. This was the tough love scenario we had planned all along. His anger directed at me, the pain felt by his daughter. The goal was to shock her out of this phase and make her abandon her 2-month foray into being a bad girl. I'd written this script 2 months ago when her rebellion first started. When I pitched it to Mr. Liu, he called me a genius. He was at his wit's end and saw this as the only way to get through to her without alienating her completely. 2 fake blows and Sophia was already a wreck. I decided to push it further. I gave Mr. Liu a subtle nod to go further. He hesitated, the pain in his eyes real even if his anger was an act. But he steeled himself and raised his hand again, this time aiming for my chest. Sophia scrambled to cover my front, shielding me again. Dad, stop. I promise, she pleaded, her voice choked with tears. We'll go back to studying. We'll never see those people again. I swear. Those were the magic words. Mr. Liu let out a long, heavy sigh, theatrically dropping his hand. His voice softened. You said it. If I ever find out you're messing around again, it will be much worse than this. We won't. Liam and I, we promise. Sophia vowed, her voice still trembling. The very next day, she was a completely different person. The piercings came out. The wild hair was toned down to a gentle wave and dyed back to its natural black. The flashy jewelry vanished. Her entire wardrobe of edgy, provocative clothes was thrown out. She even went through my closet and purged it of anything that looked remotely rebellious. My own ridiculous blonde hair was finally dyed back to normal. Thank God. I have no idea how I managed to walk around like that for 2 months without dying of embarrassment. That whole ridiculous chapter wasn't a total waste, though. A video of Sophia and me dancing in the hallway went viral on TikTok. Some casting agent actually contacted me asking if I'd be interested in playing a bleach blonde punk in a new teen drama. Are you kidding me? You're a bleach blonde punk. Your whole family are bleach blonde punks. I cursed him out in my head for a solid 5 minutes. Once we looked like ourselves again, we returned to school and completely cut ties with our former clique, focusing on our studies. In truth, grades were irrelevant for Sophia. Mr. Liu had her future meticulously planned out. As long as she didn't completely derail her life, she was set. She could have failed every class and it wouldn't have mattered. The only real rule was stay away from the losers. After graduation, Sophia and I both enrolled at USC. It was framed as I was going to college, but really I was just there to keep an eye on her. It was on our first night in our new apartment near campus that Sophia snuck into my room. She looked at me with a pouting, determined expression. She wanted to sleep with me. We've been dating for so long, and we still haven't. Can't you be a little more assertive? Her personality was always direct. She had wanted this for a while, but back home under her father's roof, she'd been too hesitant to say it. Here in LA, free from those constraints, her true nature was unleashed. That night, I fulfilled her request. It was the official beginning of our physical relationship. After all, I still needed the leverage of being her boyfriend to keep her on the straight and narrow. From that day on, we were a real couple. We studied hard during the day and at night we explored every aspect of our new intimacy. College life was liberating and we took full advantage. Those 4 years at USC were the honeymoon phase of our relationship. After we graduated, Sophia began to take on responsibilities at the Liu Group. 3 years after our return, we were married. That same year, our son Leo was born. Another 3 years flew by. Today, Sophia is the CEO of the entire Liu Group, a titan of industry in Los Angeles, controlling 18 public companies. And this year, our marriage quietly began to die. Sophia had always made a point of hiring only female assistants. Then one day, I noticed she had hired a man. His name was Chase Jiang. Fresh out of college, a standard-issue pretty boy with a boyish charm. The moment I saw him, I felt a familiar sense of crisis. They talk about the 7-year itch. We had been together in one way or another for nearly 20 years. I had never been with another woman. She had never been with another man. When you see the same face day after day and the world constantly presents you with fresh new temptations, staying faithful is a monumental task. Few succeed. Ever since Chase started, Sophia's behavior in the bedroom had become fervent. Almost every night, she initiated things, sometimes more than once. I knew what it was. She was exercising the guilt and desire he sparked in her. She was with me, but I had a sinking feeling she was thinking of him. Not long after, following a business trip she took with Chase, she bought him a $30,000 watch. Chase had the gall to follow me on Instagram. The first thing I saw on his feed was a picture of that watch on his wrist. The caption read, "What makes a CEO buy you a $30,000 watch?" Love. There were no comments. I figured he had set the post so only I could see it. I looked at my phone screen and just laughed. I quickly took a screenshot knowing it wouldn't be up for long. Screenshot saved. I started packing a bag. Without a moment's hesitation, I walked out of that mansion. When Sophia came home that night to an empty house with all my things gone, she panicked. "Liam, where are you? Pick up the phone. Why are all your things gone? Did you go back to your hometown? Text me back. Don't scare me. Leo and I are waiting for you for dinner." The calls went to voicemail. The texts kept coming, each one more frantic than the last. But I was miles away, driving an SUV through the desert with 2 travel companions, setting up a tent at a remote campsite. Our destination was Yosemite. I'd served the Liu family for nearly 20 years. In all that time, through everything, she never realized one simple fact. I had never once told her I loved her. It was true. All these years, I had acted out of a deep sense of gratitude to her father. I had helped her, guided her, and supported her as she took over the family empire. It had cost me 2 decades of my life. If she had remained true to our vows, I would have gladly given her the rest of my life. But now with her insatiable craving for novelty, she had betrayed our marriage. Her having someone new felt in a strange way like my own liberation. I glanced at her texts, then sent her a single reply. The screenshot of her assistant's Instagram post. The frantic messages stopped instantly. $30,000 for a watch was nothing compared to the collection in my closet. But that wasn't the point. Why would a female CEO suddenly gift her male assistant something so extravagant? We weren't idiots. It reeked of a sugar mama arrangement. A few minutes later, a new text came through. She swore she had never physically cheated. So, she was admitting to an emotional affair, as if that made a difference. I didn't reply. I turned to the 2 young women sitting by the fire, laughing as they roasted marshmallows. They were Skylar and Maya, recent college grads building careers as social media influencers. They had 1 million followers on TikTok for their dance videos. On this trip, they were my travel buddies and technically my employers. I was their dedicated photographer and videographer. I loved the work. Thanks to the Liu Group stock Mr. Liu had given me over the years, I was already independently wealthy. I didn't need the money. From now on, I was only going to do things I wanted to do. I would no longer be defined by Sophia Liu. "Liam, have a beer." Skylar called out, holding up a bottle. I grabbed one and clinked it against hers, then took a long drink. That night, I cheated on Sophia twice. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. I didn't expect that by noon, Sophia would arrive in a helicopter, kicking up a storm of dust across our campsite. She climbed out, holding our 3-year-old son, Leo, in her arms. Her dramatic entrance drew the attention of every other traveler in the area. "Whoa, isn't that Sophia Liu, the CEO of the Liu Group?" someone whispered. Her face was well known from business magazines and conferences. "Liam, Leo, and I missed you so much," she said, immediately playing the family card. "Daddy, hug," my son cried out in a small voice. I couldn't be angry at him. I took him from her arms, then looked at her, my voice sharp. "Really, Sophia? Using our son like this? Do you think that's fair?" She grabbed my sleeve, her eyes pleading. "I can't live without you, Liam. I mean it. I swear I never slept with him. I had no idea he would be so stupid as to taunt you with the watch." I fired him and I got the watch back. She pulled the $30,000 timepiece from her pocket. Then, as if realizing I would find it tainted, she threw it on the ground and stomped on it with her heel. "You hate it." "I know," she said, trying to sound appeasing. "See, it's gone." The truth was, I didn't care about Chase. At this point, we just needed to be honest. "Sophia, I'm going to be straight with you. I don't care if you're with Chase." She froze, completely stunned. The truth is, I continued, from the moment we started dating until now, I have never been fully in love with you. It wasn't that I felt nothing. There was a physical attraction, a spark of affection born from years of proximity. But love, no. We have never been on the same wavelength. I paused, then asked, do you remember Gavin Miller? The name brought a flicker of a distant, unpleasant memory to her eyes. Senior year, you stopped being the good girl and started getting close to him, I said. So, I deliberately changed myself into the kind of guy I knew you'd like and forced my way into the picture. I was the reason you two never got together. Let's be honest. If I hadn't interfered, you two would have fallen head over heels for each other. You probably would have given my dad a heart attack by now. Before she could argue, I cut her off. You and I are not the same kind of people. But for a lot of reasons, we got tangled up together. I crashed into your life, but I paid the price. I married you. We have Leo. Now you're mature. You run a global company. And you found someone you're interested in. Why don't we just end this amicably? The words I'd held back for years finally came pouring out. Sophia just shook her head frantically, pressing herself against me. No, that's not true. You love me. You're just saying these things to hurt me, right? I don't like Chase. We just talked. And I never liked Gavin Miller. Don't you dare say that. The only person I have ever loved is you, Liam. Can we please stop fighting and just go home? She was begging, but I knew nothing I said would get through to her right now. I turned my back on her, so she decided to stay. She followed our convoy day after day. She was still legally my wife. Skylar and Maya couldn't exactly kick her out of my SUV. In fact, the two of them looked incredibly guilty every time they had to look Sophia in the eye. The Lou group was a well-oiled machine that didn't need her constant supervision. So, for a full week, she and Leo became part of our road trip. Then the assistant she fired, Chase, decided to make his move. He went online, starting a live stream where he claimed the famous CEO, Sophia Lou, had toyed with his emotions. He produced screenshots of their intimate chats and candid, flirty photos from their business trips as evidence. Sophia panicked. I just smiled at her. See, there's all the evidence of your affair. When this is all over, let's just get a divorce. Let's do it with some dignity before I have to take you to court. She was still trying to defend herself. But I told you it was only an emotional affair. We never slept together. The photos and chats were damning, but she was right. There was no smoking gun. But it didn't matter. Betrayal is betrayal. Still, she was Leo's mother. I pointed at one of the photos on her phone. Look at the angle of this shot. This is a telephoto lens. Someone was following you. The realization dawned on her face. You mean I was set up? Go investigate Chase. I told her. And while you're at it, look into Gavin Miller too. I left her with that thought, then got in the SUV with Skylar and Maya and drove away. Sophia had to return to Los Angeles to handle the PR nightmare. Holding Leo, she watched us go. The truth was, I had already looked into it. Chase had been put up to this by Gavin Miller as part of a long-con revenge plot. I was waiting to reveal it, but since they made the first move, I figured I'd give Sophia the tip. Back in LA, Sophia launched an immediate investigation and quickly confirmed Gavin's involvement. She called a press conference where she bravely admitted to having an emotional affair. She publicly begged for my forgiveness on camera. I still owed her father a debt I could never fully repay. And after all these years, a part of me would always see her as my little sister. Before Mr. Lou could even call me, I posted a statement on Twitter. I explained that our marriage had been going through a difficult period which allowed a malicious party to exploit the situation. I stated that I had forgiven my wife for her indiscretion. I also apologized to the public for our private matters becoming a spectacle. My statement immediately took the wind out of Chase's sails. Public opinion shifted. People scrutinized the chat logs and realized that Chase knew perfectly well that Sophia was married. He wasn't a victim. He was a willing participant who got angry when he failed to break up a family. The internet is fickle, but it isn't stupid. The tide turned on Chase. His live stream was flooded with angry comments. Within days, he became a social pariah. Then Mr. Lou stepped in again and both Chase and Gavin Miller simply disappeared. A few days later, the story was old news. And then the helicopter returned. This time, when Sophia got out with Leo, she was also carrying a suitcase. It looked like she was planning on a long stay. After all, she loved traveling and adventure even more than I did. I'm still your wife, she said, standing outside my SUV. You can't make me leave. She looked like a lost kitten waiting to be taken in. A slow smile spread across my face. I got out, took the suitcase from her, and loaded it into the back of the vehicle. The majestic peaks of Yosemite were right in front of us. The story of the four of us was just beginning.